far we've looked at our retirement calculation by spending principal during retirement. That looks like this. We save, we start with an amount of money, we save to how much money we need for retirement, and then during retirement we spend principal and the interest or return on our investments, and then we try to have a little bit of cushion for an estate so we don't outlive our money. Well, another option is to not spend principal during retirement at all. So instead of reducing the amount of your net worth every year, you simply continue to have the same amount of money in the bank, and whatever return you get per year is what you spend. Well, this is a slightly different calculation, and there's some benefits to this. If you could live on this amount of money, the return only, and not spend the principal, then you would have, obviously, a much larger estate for your heirs or for a charity. You would also have the ability to dip into it if a sudden emergency happened, and then continue along at a slightly lower level of net worth, but you could continue spending. So there are some advantages to trying to live on principal only. Obviously, the number is going to be a little bit higher. So let's look at some calculations to find out how much spending principal only would be for different scenarios. Our previous scenario, we found that our payment equaled $100,000. In other words, when our spending principal, we needed $100,000 in a previous example every year to be withdrawn for the account. And in that $100,000 was an assumption of some of it being principal and some of it being return on our investments, and we calculated it both 4%, 6%, and 8%. Well, let's just say $100,000 is going to be principal only. To calculate this, we use the equation, the present value times the interest rate equals the payment. Now, we know this is a very common formula. We've done it in time value of money before. The present value of, say, $1 million at, say, 10% interest equals the $100,000 payment. So $1 million at 10% interest per year gives you $100,000 per year in income. Well, 10% may be too high for most people to try to return every year in their portfolio. They may have to take too much risk. So obviously the higher the return, the higher the risk. And in retirement, we probably don't want to take that much risk. So let's rearrange the formula and look at different scenarios, always looking for a range between what we want to do. So in rearranging the formula, we want to find out the present value equals the payment divided by the interest rate. The present value is the amount of money you need at retirement so you can live off just the interest only. So the present value here is the present value at retirement. So the payment, we know we want $100,000 at retirement, and we want to try different interest rates. So 10% we know is 100, so let's do 0.08 or 8%. Let's do 100 divided by 0.06% and do 100 divided by 0.04%. Obviously, the $100,000 would be your own number that you need per year in the future. So doing these calculations, we can do them very quickly on a calculator. So we turn our calculator on, $100,000 divided by 0.08 equals 1.25 million. We have a clear $100,000 divided by 0.06 equals 1.6 million, and clear $100,000 divided by 0.04 equals 2.5 million. So now, as you can see, we've done another series of calculations to get a range of possibilities. So if we need $100,000 per year in payments and we want to live on interest only, we don't want to spend any principal. If we can return 10% on our money, we need $1 million. If we can return 8% on our money, we need $1.25 million. If we return 6% on our money, we need $1.6 million, and 4% on our money, we need $2.5 million. So as you can see, as the risk goes down, the amount of money you need goes up. So if you can't get, say, $2.5 million, if it's too hard for you to save to get to $2.5 million, but if you want to live on interest only, then you have to take a little bit more risk on your money to get more return or more interest on your money. So this is a calculation that you should do for your own scenario and find out whether you want to spend some principal during retirement and leave an estate, or you want to spend or not spend principal and leave the estate of your entire net worth at the end of your retirement days. So run the numbers for yourself for your own scenario and see if you can live on principal only. You definitely want to look at this calculation.